Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Betting Show Week 8, brought to you by freebets.com, the very best free bet offers brought to you daily by the Free Bets team. I've recently just logged on there just to have a quick look what they've got on, and first thing that popped up, Adam, bet £10, get £50 free in free bets at Betfred. Sounds like
there you go.
Sounds like you should get on that and then bet on one of your articles, Adam.
Oh, I don't know about that, but there's lots of articles on there with plenty of tips over all the different sports that you'd want. So, horse racing, football, golf. Me for NFL stuff, we had a 13-2 accumulator that came in last Sunday, so that will be there. There'll be an accumulator bet for this Sunday's games. Another 6-1 shot that will be going out probably tomorrow, maybe. So that will be there. And yeah, there's loads of other tips there over there. Lots of articles, lots of information as to where you can get all your free bet offers. So go over there and have a look.
Yeah, doing quite well with your articles. I know they're not quite as big odds as I quite like, but you seem to be getting.
You see, the problem with you, and we've been through this. I mean, there's many problems, but the main problem when it comes to betting is you're a greedy little bugger, aren't you? That's the problem. You are a greedy little bugger, and if it doesn't involve over 10-1, he gets stroppy. So
just not interested.
you've got to understand that it's about consistent profit.
Yeah. And then using all that profit to put on more bets.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is that. If you're going to go down that route, I mean, do gamble responsibly, everybody. Don't necessarily listen to what he says and put it all on more bets. But
it says it just there above me, doesn't it? Gamble responsibly. Gamble aware.
It does, but I'm just saying, you and your theory of just gamble more, it's an outrage.
It's all profit. As always, we've had a game already. What a game it was. The Chargers played the Minnesota Vikings, and the Chargers won 37-10. The Chargers, which are injuries all over the shop. The O-line, the defense, the running backs, a couple of the wide receivers are banged up. They're not injured and out. Taking on a Minnesota Vikings team that I think it's lost now. I'm not sure where it goes from here. How did you feel about the game?
Yeah, it wasn't really much of a game, was it? Let's.
It was a little bit like the game down in London that we watched. Chargers got out to a 14-0 lead very quickly, and it was pretty much game over from there, wasn't it?
It was, and I think the things that I kind of took away from it is Kevin O'Connell really doesn't like Carson Wentz. I definitely took that away from it because he was Wentz was he was injured before the game, wasn't it? He was he's been injured since they played in London.
Dublin was it?
Yeah, it may be. Yeah, it might have been the Steelers game. Actually, he picked it up and he played through it at London. So he's been injured for a while. Obviously, JJ McCarthy. They've come out and said it's an injury. It might be because he's a bit crap.
Oh yeah, come on. What's he been out now? He's been out for 6 weeks. 6 weeks with a rolled ankle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people that roll their ankle daily and they're back to work the next day. When did rolled ankle become the worst injury, a season-ending injury?
I think we might be protecting him a little bit. So that there is that. And then obviously they've got, is it Max Rosmer, who we spoke about in the draft show, didn't we? A little bit, not for too long, but he's, you kind of feel like once you're, 34-10 down, maybe take Wentz out and give him a little bit of time off because basically he's broken. So I think that's just going to carry on happening. So that's kind of what I took from the Viking side of it, that basically they're not really going anywhere because they can't sort the quarterback problem out. So that's the end of them really for the season, I think. And then for the Chargers, because it wasn't bad enough trying to guess who was going to score a touchdown between Quinton Johnson, Lad McConkey, and Keenan Allen, we have now got Aronde Gadsden as well. So
someone I was very high on in the draft.
We mentioned him during the draft. He was he the one who he had injuries.
Yeah, but when he was fit, he was a receiving monster. So
yeah. So you know, he looks fit, he looks good, and I think he's definitely going to play a big part because they haven't really got a tight end, have they, other than him? So I think he's going to play a pretty big part for the rest of this season. So you know, now we've got 4 to try and work out where the ball's going to go.
Trey Harris got in the end zone as well, didn't he? So you know,
but he's a bit hit and miss, isn't he? So
I think they're trying to work him slowly into it. You know, he's not as quite as good yet as McConkey and QJ and Keenan Allen. You know, they've settled in nicely. I think he's a nice rotational piece, nice depth piece. But if he does manage to get in that team, I think he's going to be a bit of a danger because this has been the last few weeks now where he has got involved a bit more. So that team seems to be hitting on their rookies. Vikings, not so much. Quick one with the Vikings. They had Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Do you think they were wrong to let both of them go and then try and move forward with no backup plan and JJ McCarthy?
It's difficult because they're going to come out and say that their backup plan was Carson Wentz.
Well, they didn't bring him in until very, very late. You know, the week before the season started. So that's not really a backup plan, is it?
No, look, they were obviously happy with JJ McCarthy. They obviously felt that during training camp he was fit and that they were happy with what he was going to do. They picked him. They moved up to get him, I want to say.
I think they moved up one. Did they move up one place?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So they want, you know, they wanted him, and I think if you're going to have a rookie, you've got to give him a chance, and this is kind of the chance. However, this is clearly costing them big time, and
they won 14 games last year, didn't they? And now looks like they're going to win 7 this year. So the whole team's improved probably on what it was last year. So bar the quarterback position.
I don't know. I mean, they were very good last year, weren't they? So
that's what I'm saying. They were brilliant last year, and on paper they were brilliant this year, bar the quarterback.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the problem is that if you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, you've got to give them a chance. But yeah, I mean, he's clearly not up to it.
You think they'll be in the market next draft for another quarterback, or do you think they'll?
No, it's going to be difficult. It depends where they. It really depends where they finish, doesn't it? Because if they end up sort of like, I don't know, like 10th or 12th in the draft, are you going to have to move up in order to get a decent one? I mean, it's not looking fantastic, is it?
I think there's loads of really good quarterbacks with some
potential,
and there's no elite guys standing out just yet. So I don't think you need to move up. I think there'll be a lot of the guys go back end of the first. So I think they'll be fine. Or can you see someone like Aaron Rodgers getting his way and going there for one season next year and then rolling with that?
I think Aaron Rodgers might be hanging around in Pittsburgh a bit longer than what we think.
Well, maybe. Well, let's get on to that's enough. We'll leave this chatter for the Tuesday show, the Monday show now, because that's where that should be. We'll move on to betting. That's what we're all here for. FTAG5, I think we had 3-2 last week. 3-2, 4-1. So, you know, not quite there, but nearly. Still a winning record. So I found it really tough this week, Adam. I found a lot of the spreads were 6.5, 7.5, sort of like that, you know, pushing towards that touchdown plus. And there wasn't many games that were within that 2.5, 3 mark that I kind of like when I'm fond of a team. So I found it really, really difficult this week. Yeah,
there are some There's some odd ones, isn't there, this week? I think what you're finding is there's quite a few buys this week, so that's obviously taking out quite a lot of people. But yeah, there does seem to be quite a few strange. I mean, just really quickly, the Colts minus 14.5. It's such a large amount. But not only is it minus, is it such a large amount, they've put on the extra half just to make it even harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some big ones, and there's not. It kind of feels like there is some. It is a tough one this week. It's not. I must admit, when I was going through it, I wasn't getting overly excited about these games this week. So,
well, there's lots of teams. I'm like, I definitely think they're going to win. So
yeah, but maybe not by that many.
So you're just taking a punt that you get there with it. But the first one I locked in was the Buccaneers, minus 3.5 against the Saints. The Buccaneers, yes, they're without Godwin and Evans, but it looks like Ibuka's played last week, so he's going to be fit for this game, and he's their number one receiver this year. And Tez Johnson looks like he's going to be wide receiver 2 and complemented very nice over the last 2 weeks as well. So apart from that, Baker Mayfield's been playing great. So I don't see any reason why this team doesn't get the win. 3.5 doesn't seem loads. I know the Saints have been hanging around in games, but they're now without Kendre Miller, so it's going to be very heavy, reliant on Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave. So I know they've been hanging around in games, but I like the 3.5 in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 3.5 is a decent one. I think what you're dealing with here is, like you say, a Saints team that likes to hang around. But when we say hang around, it's almost like there's a limit to what they get. So it kind of, I never really feel confident they're going to get more than 20 points in a game. That seems to be what ends up happening. You've got a Bucks team that are, very strong. Okay, yes, they had a really rough, game on Monday Night Football against the Lions, but you're going to get away to the Lions, so you're not really expecting too much. Mike Evans obviously was taken out of that game injured, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it will be Ibuka, it will be Tej Johnson. I think Sterling Shepard will have a really big part to play in this game, and actually I think that he's probably the one who's more likely to become like the number 2 guy myself. So he's very heavily targeted and was very heavily targeted in that game as well. So I would expect to see him get involved quite a lot. I think the Bucks are just generally a much better team. When you look statistically, there's not actually, it's funny that the stats for defense when it comes to pass and run, they're like the Bucks are kind of pretty good against the run, not so great against the pass, and the Saints are the opposite. And they're actually not too far apart. It's strange in that respect, but I think offensively, you've just got a quarterback in Baker Mayfield who's just flying at the moment. And although the sort of like veteran weapons are out injured, he's still got talent on that team. So I would expect them to win it. I'd expect them to win it quite comfortably. I think it was minus 4 was what it was before. It's now minus 3.5. And yeah, I think that minus 3.5 is not a bad line, because I just don't have confidence that the Saints will get over 20 points going against a Bucks defense that I think is actually not too bad.
Yeah. I locked it in first. That's the reason I locked it in first. I'm confident on that one. The other one I put in second for this was the Buffalo Bills at minus 7 against Carolina Panthers. Yeah, the Buffalo Bills are coming off back-to-back losses. So they need to step up in this game and have a good performance. I do know the Panthers obviously won their last 3, but the opposition that they've been playing against hasn't been great. So I think that can be an area of where they're tending to excel. Bryce Young is out. He's out for this game. So I think that's a big loss for them, because I think he was playing some, he was playing some nice football, and he's good with his extending plays and his movement's been good. So I think that really helped the Panthers in terms of what they were doing. So the Bills, I think Kincaid's going to play. I know they said he was a bit day to day, but I think he's trending towards playing. So I can see Kincaid, James Cook, Josh Allen, and Keon Coleman all bouncing back in this game and having a big game. And I'm happy to take the -7. I think it's a 10-point win for them, the Bills.
Yeah, I think the Bryce Young injury is probably what has pushed me to the point of kind of agreeing with you. This was the one that I was a little bit like, I'm not sure about. Just the reason I'm not 100% sure about it, and actually to a certain extent, I'm not sure if Bryce Young being out will make too much of a difference. The Bills suck against the run. Like, they are appalling against it, and the Panthers have a very good run game, and it's what they're leaning on heavily.
Well, they've got Hubbard back now as well, so it's going to be a double-edged sword, really, isn't it, from Hubbard and
so you've got Rico Dowdle, you've got Chuba Hubbard, and I think that both of them can have success in this game against a Buffalo Bills team who are 31st against rushing at the moment. And yeah, they just cannot stop the run. So the Panthers, it's their MO to a certain extent. It's what they do, and so I think that they will put points on the board here. I think
you got faith in the Red Rifle getting it done. You think?
This is where the problem comes in, because obviously you can't literally just run the ball. It's like the Bills will just throw all of their guys into stopping the run, and so they're gonna have to somehow beat them in the air as well. And I think that's where I'm a little bit like, I just don't see it. And I think that the Bills have the better players. Obviously, Josh Allen is a much better quarterback. I think that the run game on both sides are actually probably not. James Cook, he's a very good rusher. Okay, the Panthers have got two, but I think James Cook can rush really well. I just kind of feel like the Bills have got a better overall team, and also coming off the bye and having just lost 2 games, you have to think that you're going to see a reaction here, and a pretty strong one, I would have thought. So if they don't win this by 7, I think there might be concerns for the Bills. But yeah, so I'm with you. I agree. Shove it in. But there are a few sort of apprehensions about this one.
Yeah, I know. Last week on the chat show, I mentioned that Sean McDermott should be on the warm seat. He might be on the hot seat if he does lose this one. I know you two, especially Freddie, seemed shocked when I brought his name up, but can't keep going this way, can it? So they need a big win. They have to have a statement win, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of them coaches, isn't he, where eventually you've got to get a win. It's kind of like where the Ravens are to a certain extent. Eventually you've got to win the Super Bowl. You can't just keep having this amazing team and losing to the Chiefs. You can't keep going down that route. So yeah, they need to win eventually.
The next game I've gone is the New England Patriots at -7 against the Cleveland Browns. It's in New England. Patriots, I said it last week, looking on fire. Happy to put them in any bet at the minute. I think they've got a really nice schedule at the moment of games to play. So I think they will get some momentum going. The Browns with their big win last week. Yes, Quinton Judkins looked fantastic, but I'm not sold on Dylan Gabriel. And outside of that, Harold Fannin looks good, but Patriots defense looks good, and the offense looks fantastic. Drake May actually set a record, didn't he, for completion percentage, the highest completion percentage in a game for the Patriots, and they had Tom Brady for a long time, 91%, I think it was, and it wasn't all dink and dunk. He threw some big passes in that game as well. So Ramondre Stevenson, despite when he doesn't put the ball on the floor, actually really good. So yeah, I'm happy to take the Patriots -7 in this one.
Yeah, it's I mean, Drake May this year has been insane. I mean, he's currently got a 75.2% pass completion rate for the season, which is pretty mental for what's it been, 7 games. So I mean that's
7 games, and everyone's saying they need to, in the before the trade deadline, they need to go and get a wide receiver.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the thing is that it's that feeling of there's no known name, is there, apart from Diggs? That's all that there is. So, but that's probably why people are saying it. But yeah, look, they're going up against a good Browns team here, defense here. You know, they are a very good top 10 defense, and I think that will obviously slow them down to a certain degree. The Browns' offense is basically Quinshon Judkins, and they're going up against the Patriots' defense that are third when it comes to giving up rushing yards. So I think that it'll be. I don't see the Browns really scoring many points in this game. Dylan Gabriel just isn't doing it for me, and probably not for many people. I would have thought I saw him live in London, and like you say, it's a lot. It's just sort of little short passes to the tight end. It's passing it off to the running back. You're not going to win games that way. You need to do more than that, and he's just not going to be able to, I don't think. So I think because of that, it feels very much that the Patriots will win. I think they'll win it by more than 7, but I don't think that it'll be a particularly high scoring game, but it won't need to be. So, you know, I mean, I'm not sure what's the
over
under 40 and a half. So, you know, I mean, I could see the under hitting there quite comfortably. If it finished something like 24-10, I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah, I think that's probably around the score you've got it, 24-13 maybe a push. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Next one I've gone for is the Cincinnati Bengals at -6.5. So I've got it under the touchdown. With Joe Flacco, they look like they can move the ball down the field. Higgins looked good. Jamar Chase looked like a computer game again. Even Chase Brown, they seem to get him going for the first time ever. Sneaky one for fancy people. A lot of people are out on him. If you want him, buy him now. He's going to be at the lowest price. And I think with Flacco, he's going to be good. They're playing a Jets team that has decided not to play Justin Fields. They're going to go with Tyrod Taylor. And I think Tyrod Taylor looked worse than Justin Fields when he came on. Had less than 50% completion and threw 2 interceptions. So I can't see that improving anymore. I think Garrett Wilson is back. If I was him, I'd be like, "No, I'm still injured." Yeah, he's definitely out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they came out. They came out and said it earlier. Yeah, exactly. They came out and said earlier today that he is out and Sauce Gardner's out as well. So you can't.
Do you see Jets putting more than 10 points on the board?
It's difficult. I mean, Tyrod Taylor maybe might be a little bit better than what he was last week because he's had the whole week practicing knowing he's going to be.
He's thrown the ball to Alan Lazard and Josh Reynolds, is it?
Pretty much, yeah. So he might be a bit better. But he's not really got much when it comes to any sort of weapon. A lot of this is going to be Breece Hall. So good luck, Breece. Yeah. I think you're going to need it. But I think that's what it's going to be. So it's going to be very difficult for them to get anywhere. And then, of course, the defense is just. I mean, look, they're going up against the Bengals defense that's poor. So, I mean, in that respect, they should be able to do something, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do very much. And I think what is probably the most important thing is the Jets are 23rd against the run. They're 9th against the pass, but your best corner's out as well. So it's going to make it even worse, I think, for the Jets in this one. Joe Flacco is going to throw the ball all day long. we know exactly what I think when you say about Chase Brown, everyone's elevated with Joe Flacco there compared to what it was with Jake Browning. And yeah, I think that -6.5, it's not, it's within a touchdown. Again, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a massive scoring game. I think under 44.5 is very possible because I just don't see the Jets putting many points up here.
Wow, this is when the Bengals go and put 37 points up against them, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I mean they could. They could possibly do that. I mean, you could do that and still get on the under.
Yeah.
So, but it's just one of them where I just think that because you've got Flacco, and that's going to bring confidence as well, that he's literally walked in the building and they've done that. And, Chase is amazing. T. Higgins is amazing. Even their sort of like third, fourth string guys like Josefas and stuff like that. He's had a few drops, but when he's been all right, he's been decent. And, I just don't see how the Jets compete. So, yeah, I'd take the -6.5.
And then the last one you're going to hate.
Yeah.
For two reasons. You've got to.
Yeah.
Wow, you haven't got to wait that long. I haven't left it till the Monday night game. It's the late game on Sunday. I put the Packers in there at -3. I like the spread on it. I think the Packers are the better team. I think they've got a great defense, great offense. Steelers are. Defense has been better and playing well. Offense is very reliant on tight ends and DK. I just think Packers are the better team. And at -3, I'm going to take the better team. So that's my thought process behind this one, because I didn't like the large spreads on some of the other games.
So aside from my obvious bias of not wanting to back the Packers, there is a bit of a concern here where they've not got great history whenever they've gone to the Steelers. They have kind of struggled. Now, I know that I agree. I think the Packers are a better team than the Steelers at the moment. But I actually don't think the Packers are... It's a bit of a weird one. Like I say, I've said this before. It feels like they're not playing great, but they're playing okay. It feels like they're playing within themselves. For whatever reason, 27 seems to be the popular number, as that's been their 4 wins with them points. But I think what certainly what a lot of Packers fans, I think, when they say it feels like they're not playing great, it's because the offense isn't doing what it used to do. The offense used to go out and blast teams away. Now they've got a defense that is doing very well. Second against the run, 15th against the pass, and it's just containing teams. So it's just a different way of winning, and I think it's just something that's a little bit different for Packers fans to get their head around. I kind of agree that I think what you're doing is it's the right bet in this game. I think that -3 makes an awful lot of sense for the Packers here, and that they should win it. I will not be backing it.
Yeah, you'll be. So you pretty much liked all the others. I feel like you liked.
I did, yeah.
So you're taking the Packers out. Which game did I miss, Adam?
Right. Which game have you missed? Now, so I'm going for a +1, but that doesn't mean that this is my avoid either. So just go with it. The one that I think you've missed, San Francisco 49ers +2.
Yeah, I've got them to win the game.
I've got them to win the game. And I was a little surprised. That's actually gone up. It was 1.5. Because I have tipped it in other places. So it was +1.5, but it's now +2 here. And I'm still not that bothered, because I just think the Texans, they're just not doing anything offensively, apart from against the Ravens and the Titans. They're the only 2 teams that they have beaten so far this season. Whenever they've gone up against a defense that's been semi-decent, they've struggled. The 49ers defense is not at its best, obviously. You know, Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are both out now for the season, but they're still a decent, you know, unit. I mean, it goes to show the fact that they're 6-1, I believe. You know, the fact that they're 6-1, and I know that people will say they've had an easy schedule, but they've still had to beat these teams, and they've had so many injuries. It kind of almost feels like the injuries have counteracted the easy schedule to a certain extent. And I just don't see where the Texans are suddenly going to spring from to suddenly be amazing. Nico Collins is probably going to miss this game.
It's concussion protocol.
Yeah, he's in concussion protocol. They
And
haven't taken him out yet, but
Christian Kirk is definitely out.
yeah, he's out. So it kind of feels a little bit like, who is he actually throwing the ball to? So, you know, you've got Xavier Hutchinson, you've got Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, you know, Dalton Schultz at tight end. This doesn't feel like, you know, anyone special. The 49ers have got Christian McCaffrey on that team. The 49ers have now got George Kittle back. I know he didn't do much last week, but
They got
I
Kittle
think, you know,
and Tunges if they want to, you know.
yeah, give him a game and away he goes, sort of thing. So I would expect him to have a big performance in this one. Not to mention the fact that it's National Tight Ends Day, of course, and we all know that George Kittle likes to come out and play well on that. Yeah, I think that, to me, the 49ers seem like a much a better choice here. And I am surprised that it's +2 on their side.
Yeah, I was. I didn't put it in because I didn't know whether I was just being biased towards the 49ers because I think they're going to finish top of their division. I think they've got a weak schedule. I think they're still playing well with Mac Jones. And I was like, oh, I've got them down. As I said, I've got them down to win it outright. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, am I missing something? Am I wrong here? You know, it's what have I missed? So I've kind of left it out thinking maybe it was me that was being biased towards the 49ers. So I like the bet.
Well, you should have included it.
Well, you know. What's your rack avoid then, Adam?
So I've got I haven't really got two. I really wanted to do the Giants +7.5. I really did. After last week, where I sort of went against the Broncos because they were playing the Giants, and I really wanted to get on their side, especially with AJ Brown. He's going to miss this game, isn't he? They're saying, for the Eagles. So I was really tempted by it. However, I'm gonna carry on really with where I was last week when I said I wanted to avoid the Broncos, and I want to avoid the Broncos again. -3.5 against the Cowboys. It's not that I specifically think the Cowboys are going to come out and win this game. I just don't want to. I don't want to back against them or with them, kind of thing. I just want to sit and watch the chaos. I think it is really what it's about when it comes to the Cowboys. The fact that they've got so many good players on the offense, you know, Dak is playing great, Lamb is back, Pickens has been brilliant. You got to think that Patrick Surtain is probably going to stick to CD Lamb pretty much throughout the whole of this game. That just opens up George Pickens. It really does. So Jake Ferguson has been great for them. Their defense can't stop anything, but it doesn't matter because the offense does really well. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if you ended up with a 30-27, which is what the Cowboys had last week. Just so happened that they lost it last week. It wouldn't surprise me if they won it this week at 30-27, or again that they lost it. Either way, you don't get a win if you're -3.5. So I will avoid the Denver Broncos again.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Giants should have got the victory last week, and there's no reason why the Cowboys, where their offense is playing, can't get the victory this week. Bo Nix is very hit and miss, isn't he?
He does seem to be. It's a shame because last year he was
through
very good.
And then the fourth quarter was, I think if you look at it as a fantasy point of view as well, I think he had 4 points going into the fourth quarter and ended with like 40 points by the end of the game. So he can do that. He can do that, but he is very inconsistent.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the Giants, they kind of let themselves down a little bit, and very much so in the play calling. Some of the play calling was awful, and they should never have let the Broncos back in that game. So I think it does make the Broncos look a little bit better. I think their record makes them look a little bit better than what they actually are, and they've actually not been that great in a lot of games, but they've managed to eke out wins, which is good, to move on and get into the playoffs. It's a promising trait for them, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily want to be back in them.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of analysts say that the Giants actually made the best decision. If they can keep playing games like that and losing, it's the best thing for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world.
You put in points up, your quarterback looks great, your team looks amazing, and you're going to get a great pick next year. So lots of them saying that's a good way to lose.
Yeah, it is a funny sort of logic. The only problem is I think that the head coach might not be there if he carries on doing this, but it's one of them things, isn't it?
I saw a rumor post today saying Giants should get John Gruden in as their head coach next year, saying he works well with young quarterbacks, and he already. I know that Jackson Dart went on his podcast, didn't he? So they've already got a bit of a relationship as well. So what one to think about, really, isn't it?
I do. I'm very much against this. I feel like when you have a rookie quarterback, you've got to stick with the coach to develop him.
I like Babel.
I'm starting to think he's going to be on his way.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm going to be 50-50 with it until the end of the year because I'm not sure John Mara wants to try and find someone else. So I think he's happy to stick with it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I hope he does, but some of the decision making has been odd.
Yeah. Well, let's move into some touchdown scorers. Adam, I'll go first this week. I can't remember who went first last week. So my first one I have gone with is T. Higgins at 27-20. As I said, I think Flacco opens up all those wide receivers, and I think Higgins got some good results with him. So I'm going to take Higgins in that game against the Jets, who I think are going to give up touchdowns to probably 3 of the big names in this game. So, probably scatter your money on all of them. You'll be all right. I also liked Rome Odunze to bounce back in this game against the Ravens at 6-4. I think the stat line would show that he didn't have a great game last week, but he's been brilliant up to that. But he did play in windy conditions, and they didn't really need to do much. So I like Odunze to get back in the end zone. And then finally, I've gone for one of the tight ends. I've gone for Kyle Pitts against Miami. I think Miami, again, another team that you're looking at that can give up points. I think it's Drake London and Kyle Pitts, that offense for me. I know Bijan, obviously, is going to get involved in both rushing and catching, but Pitts is always a threat, and I think he's having a really nice season. So I think Penix trusts him and throws the ball to him at various points in the game. So 17.21-1.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. I think all 3 of them have got a good chance. I'm not against Pitts at all in this matchup. I think that, you're going against a Dolphins team that just can't seem to really stop anything. So I think he's got a good chance coming in. Dunze I like. And T. Higgins, as you say, I mean, you're going up against a Jets defense that can't really do much. So, yeah, they should have good chances. My early touchdown treble mentioned already, Rico Dowdle at 7-5. I think that the Bills can't stop the run. I actually think him and Hubbard could get in on this one. I just feel like Dowdle is still going to have the majority of the snaps. So
I don't think he is. I think Hubbard's going to take the RB1 role back.
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because I thought that last week, and it was a 17-10 split in favour of Dowdle, which kind of made me feel a little bit like, yeah, okay, I'm not sure Hubbard will. I think it might be quite even. Maybe this week it'll be interesting. This week it'll be interesting to see what happens, because if it does go more towards Hubbard, then I think it's probably time to sort of switch over to the other side, kind of thing. I've gone for George Kittle for the 49ers. At 15-8, I think that he will have a good game after, he just needed a game to get back into it, and I just think they're the better team in that matchup. Obviously, the Texans' defense is decent, which is is probably why he's 15-8. But I was looking at, there's no Ricky Pearsall. The rest of the receiving core are not fantastic, I don't think. So I think Kittle will be targeted a lot. And then I have also gone for Rome Odunze, 6-4. And they're going up against the Ravens defense that has struggled. Most of them are back, I believe. Most of the defense for the Ravens are back. However, they were there at the beginning in the first two games, and they gave up loads of points in that as well. So I think Odunze is the clear number one for Chicago now. And yes, he had a quarter game, but I think he'll do pretty well. 15.56 to 1.
Yeah, similar odds. Like the bet. It's good. Just that Dowdle one, I'm 50-50.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from. I think
equally, like you said, if both of them are just going to get in the end zone, you pick. You can go either way with that. It depends on who you like. My evening one, we haven't got yet again. They've left us with not much to choose from, haven't they? 3 games in the late window, 3 games to pick from. So I've gone for 3 people that have seen a lot of the ball recently. I've gone for Chris Olave at 2-1. I know they're playing the Bucs, and we've said we think the Bucs will win, but I do think the Saints are going to put points up on the board, and Olave seems to see sort of 15 to 17 targets a game, so ever likely a chance of getting in the end zone. He's got into the end zone a bit more this year than he did in previous years. So 2-1, I'm going to take it all day long. I've also gone with George Pickens at 21-10. There's going to be a lot of people marking CD, so George Pickens is going to be open, I think. Prior to last week, he had that stretch of games where he was caught a touchdown. So I don't see why he doesn't get in against the Broncos. I think he's going to have the easier matchup in that game as well. So happy with that one. And then finally, I've taken another tight end. In this one, I've taken Tyler Warren. Seems to be the guy that gets the majority of the targets and the ball going to him. I was going to go Pittman. The odds are slightly better on Pittman. If you put Pittman in this bet, it takes you over 20-1. But I've gone with Warren instead, and it takes me at 17.6. So not a big difference. But quite confident in that bet.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident in that bet as well.
Exact same 3.
So I've got, basically I did do Olave, Pickens and Warren. What I will say, just to put some form of summing out there, I was looking at Sterling Shepard, who is 21-10, but I have also done Olave, Pickens and Warren. Tyler Warren is seeing so many targets at the moment, and it seems to be getting into the end zone. George Pickens, I just think Pickens is going to have a good game, because I think that Pat Surtain is going to try and take out CeeDee Lamb. So Pickens is the obvious one. And then Olave, loads and loads of targets always sent to him. So, shockingly, I like all 3 of them. Just as a side note, I've also done one for, as it is, National Tight End Day.
I've got one as well.
Okay, it would be rude not to. So I've got Kyle Pitts at 15-8, Dallas Goedert 7-4, Jake Ferguson 17-10, and Tyler Warren at 11-10. That's 43.83 to 1. And then, if you're really mental and you want to throw George Kittle in there as well, at 15 to 8, you can have him at 127.88 to 1.
Yeah, well, I had the fivefold last year and it came in.
It did.
So always worth it on tight ends day. So I started off with the 3. I went with Goddard, Kittle, and Ferguson at 21.7 to 1. And then adding in, as you say, if you add in Tyler Warren to that, it takes it to 44. And then I actually had a different name in there, but you won't have it in there. I've got Tucker Kraft, 75, taking you to 107 to 1. So
I'm not against it with the Kraft one. I've backed
in the
Kraft
last 2 weeks
before.
Yeah,
I've backed Kraft. I'm not. I think that he does have a good chance against the Steelers defense, who is pretty poor against the pass as well. So I think it does make sense. Pitts is one of them where it kind of feels like it makes sense, but he's the one who might let you down.
I'd already had him in one of the other bets, so I thought I'll pick you different names for it. So that's why I left him out of this one, just in case. Because if he lets me down in that one, he's let me down in both.
But some big odds for him for the Titans. And this is something that we said, wasn't it, last week, and we've said a few times. I think you're going to see this continue now for the rest of this season. These tight ends are decent and they're getting the ball a lot. So
Well, there was, what did we have, 4 games to pick from in the late window last week, and I said my advice: have any combination of the tight ends, and I listed off 6 or 7 tight ends and said any combination of these, that's where I'd have my money. And I think all 7 of them came in. I know we were talking about it while the games were on, and we were like, just took a Kraft to get in then, and that's all of them. And I think also didn't names that we didn't even have on the
what's the name? Theo Johnson came in, didn't he?
It's Bellinger and Johnson, wasn't it?
Bellinger and so I don't think we mentioned either of them two, but it does feel very like, and as we were saying, the Chargers last night as with Gadsden, it just for whatever reason it does feel like the tight ends are really sort of like coming to the fore this year.
Yeah, it's and it always, I'm shocked that they're such short odds on not short odds, long odds on tight ends day as well, because they purposely have plays built in there for them on National Tight Ends Day. And I'll be definitely shocked if Kittle doesn't get in. I'd wonder what the record is, because I think Kittle must get in every National Tight Ends Day, because it's a San Francisco thing, really, isn't it? He started it right.
He's probably made sure he's fit. That's why he had such a bad game last week. He's probably come back early on purpose just to get.
That was just a trial run. Well, that's all we've got time for. Hopefully, we've got some winners in there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get one of these big 100 to 1s. That would be nice to come back next week and say we had another 100 to 1 winner. So. Best of luck, guys. Happy National Tight Ends Day, and see you.